My name is Irene Vidagala. I'm a career diplomat with 41 years in the Foreign Service, the Brazilian Foreign Service, with a large period in handling with Brazil-Africa relations. And I had this invitation to come and open our embassy here. Previously, I was the ambassador of Brazil in Ghana, Accra. And I'm quite happy to be opening our embassy here. Brazil has 35 missions in Africa, and so now we come also to Kigali. It was long due. Rwanda has an embassy in Brazil since last year, and well, finally we came here. So that's me. I'm a lawyer by profession. I went to law school, but I never worked as a lawyer, and I went straight into foreign service. In the foreign service and in my, let's say, everyday life, I also have been working hardly on issues of gender, particularly promoting women in the foreign service, and well, women in politics in general. So it's good to be in Rwanda as well, because here women, I see lots of women in important positions, and this is quite inspiring. I'm quite comfortable in Rwanda. I like, well, of course, the weather is good, not too hot, but mainly I feel so comfortable in a place that has a lot of green. I'm living in a house that has lots of green. Of course, security, cleanness, all this makes you very comfortable. I like restaurants. I like wine, for instance. I like the idea of going to restaurants and have good wine. So I think that but as a matter of fact, what makes me more comfortable in Rwanda personally is the fact that people, when I say that I'm Brazilian, there is always a warm welcome. I think people like Brazil, although people don't know much about Brazil, what I think is quite fair because Brazil was not here. But so personally, I feel very at home. That's how I feel. People are very, very soft and tender and welcoming, so that makes my normal day very comfortable. I drive in the city. I'm not afraid of driving. It's easier with Waze. You can do everything. I learned how to do the first day to deal with the motorbikes. Just respect them and it is going to be okay. So personally, I'm really well. In terms of the work, I'm much better because so far it's been a very short period of time. It hasn't been yet 6 months since I arrived. It's going to be 6 months on the 11th of this month of November. And in this short period of time, we managed to open the embassy. I presented credentials, and it's incredible the amount of things that are already taking place. So, of course, I have been doing some protocol visits, courtesy calls to ministers, but we have quite a number of areas that we are already working on in very substantial issues. So it's interesting to see that in a very short period of time, we have so much to do. And you know, you look ahead and you say, well, I have much, and there are many things that we can do together. So I'm excited with the work, but I must tell you, what is really interesting is to see how in such a short period of time, people in Brazil have kind of looked at Rwanda and say, well, that's a place I want to be. I have to go. The number of delegations that I have received in this very short period of time is amazing. I could never imagine. So I think it's very good. When you are in a place where you have your expectations and your ideas that you can do a work that is meaningful, quickly materializes. So that's my initial thoughts about it. This idea came out of my mind in a blow. I was waiting to see His Excellency the President to present credentials, and I was talking to his staff, and then we were talking, chatting, waiting for the time for me to enter meeting to meet the President. And then I said, but you know what, I think there is something, and then the idea came to my mind. And when I left, that I met, and then I had the opportunity to meet the press, I then said, I have a dream. That was something that came, and it was so, it was by chance, let's say, that at that moment, I thought of that. I hadn't thought of it before, but it was I think it was a lucky insight that I had, because I think it's a very good idea, discussing with other people after that. I think that's a major way of introducing Rwanda to Brazil. And after saying that, I put in my social media, in my Twitter, and the reaction of people was so strong. And then it went to the newspaper, and now when I meet ministers and authorities, everybody knows about the visit to Rwanda. So it was something that, it was kind of a quick connection. And I think this is positive, because it's mainly the idea around people coming to visit Rwanda, and at the same time, people connecting with Brazil and soccer. That's something, people don't know much about Brazil, but about soccer, yes, they do. And it was, when I put into my Twitter, there was somebody who said, well, but Brazilians don't come to East Africa. It makes no sense. It's not a good idea. And then I don't want to, create an issue with those who are reading the tweets, the posts. Then it took me some time, and then I posted something else saying, giving the numbers of people who are going out for tourism in Brazil. So we have a growing number of people who are going out, and I also put numbers concerning the amount of money that Brazilians spend abroad. So I think this is a way of showing that there is an interest for other destinations. And connected with that, I should say that over the last 2 months or 3 months, we had 2 tourist groups here. We had one lady who came to the Quitinzina. She's one of the top, how do you say, promoters, or she writes in about tourism in Brazil, and she has a huge number of followers. She came to Rwanda, and during 15 days, she was traveling the country and promoting Rwanda, and the reaction in Brazil was very good. It was an opportunity really to show Rwanda. And then last week, we had here representatives of our top tour operator in Brazil. And this operator works with, let's say, elite groups. And they came here, and they were so well impressed. So it was interesting. You see, people are looking at Rwanda, and it's just a connection at the same time when I say, but the Visit Rwanda in soccer in the jerseys, it will make the subject much more popular. And if we want to do business, if we want to promote relations, people must know each other. And so I think this would be a very good idea. I think it will work. Well, about the consultations, it was interesting to see that after a very short time, we could have a high-level delegation from Brazil here to have these political consultations. That was very good, a good signal. And then we signed the document. And we raised, political consultations give us the opportunity to raise a number of issues. And then we more or less touched all of them, and we could understand what is the tendency, okay? Where do we want to go? And of course, the consultations were done here, give us the opportunity to hear more, and that's important. We want to hear what Rwanda wants. Brazil is too big, and we understand that we have different levels of development, but we believe that despite our numbers, we are 200 million people, 240 million people. We have challenges. Today I met the Minister of Interior and I said, well, in these areas, we are facing similar challenges. Illegal mining, drugs. So you are quite new to this and you can avoid problems that we are facing. So it's good, this opportunity. So I think that in these consultations, we could hear from the Rwanda side what are their main concerns. From our side, we also said what's important for us. Something that's very important for us is cooperation in the area of education. We signed in Brazil, the Minister of State of Education, she went to Brazil and she signed not a memorandum, but an agreement of cooperation. And through this, students from Rwanda can go and study in our universities for undergraduate and graduated courses. And these are vacancies in our universities free of charge. So completely free scholarships. And then the students from here, they may go, what they have to do is to pay for their expenses in terms of living, lodging. But in many universities, they have lodging, they have the university restaurants and this. So the amount of money is, let's say, not that much, and the school fees are completely free. This year, we wait for the Ministry of Education to present a list of the students they would like to send. Why? Because we have not yet passed through Parliament in Brazil and here the agreement. So the agreement has still to go through this process. Well, for instance, Angola this year has 400 students in Brazil. Yes. We have about 1,500, 1,600 scholarships per year to students in Africa and South America and Latin America. It's quite a big number because we don't select the area. So if you give me 100 students in the area of medicine, probably I'm not going to be able to give you 100 students in the area of medicine because medicine is the most difficult area. So I probably may give you 5 or 10. 10 would be really too much. We are all of them, from the area of arts, STEM, everything. But we understand, for instance, if you here, one area for Brazil and Rwanda, a strong area is agriculture, because Brazil is a leader in the world. So if people from Rwanda, if the ministry and people say, well, we want to send 100 students to be studying in all areas associated with agribusiness, we'll probably find the places for these 100 people to be going to Brazil, okay? So, but we want to see if we can also receive people in the area of arts, because it's interesting. We don't select. This year depends on the government. Next year, when it's going to be for 2027, we open to the whole country. And then if you wanted to go, you apply. You don't have to go through government. And then this year, for next year, it has to be through the government. Next year, we open to everybody. So if you are a father or mother, you wanted to send your son, your daughter abroad, and you say, oh, I want to send them to Brazil. You can apply. We are going to look the marks, if the family has minimal conditions because, for instance, we don't pay the tickets. We just give the scholarship for the school. But these are very good schools, and I like this. I like this program. I think it's something that builds for the future. Any student that goes there 5 years and comes back it will come with not only the knowledge of Brazil, but the experiences of our country. And I believe that this is graduation and post-graduation. So if you do your graduation, if you want to do a master or a doctorate, you can do you follow up. And then everything is free. So this is going to bring together people who are doing research in Brazil with people who are going to come back to do research in Rwanda. So you are going to imagine that you are working in the fields of, let's say, agriculture. You in Brazil studying there, you do an internship with a company. And then when you come back, you probably will bring together this company. You see? This is something I like. I like the idea of promoting Brazilian public policies, because we are quite strong in policies related to fighting poverty, inequality, reducing poverty in general. So I think bringing health, universal health. In Brazil, health is free for anybody. Of course, you can go to private hospitals. But if you don't have any insurance, anything, you go to a public hospital, you are going to be accepted and treated. So if you are a foreigner, you are there, you are in Brazil, you can access. So we have some public policies in the area of health. So I think this is good, something that's for us to share. There is one that is in the area of cattle. The idea is to create conditions here for, it's in the area of animal protein, and to create conditions to improve the cattle that you have here. And it's a kind of a program that's going to take to the slaughterhouse, and then when you have a butcher to cut the meat to export. So it's a line of production associated with animals, cows, and so. This is a project that's about to be signed, quite a big one, and it's going to be very interesting. But also in this area, there is something in the area of genetics, animal genetics, to improve the quality of the cattle in Rwanda. I think these are the more advanced projects that we are talking about. It's not, I think it's quite relevant, because Rwanda is so strong in the area of cattle. And if we can engage in these areas, and of course, we have a mission currently in the country that is also in the area. They are looking at the whole chain, because for you to have good cattle, you must have good animal feed. And to have animal feed, you have to have some kind of crops that are going to be developed into. So that's all the line that we are looking at. So I think this is something interesting. Well, I always like politics. As you see, I like to talk. I like to speak, and I think that diplomacy is a lot of engagement, human engagement. We talk with people. We sell our country. We sell, let's say you have to I think the idea of promoting peace is behind everything. I think diplomats are associated with the idea of bringing to our country good things, but maintaining peace in the world. I think it's a dream. When I was a child, I always thought, well, a diplomat's going to work on peace. And I think it's very much like this. I normally say, when diplomats fail, generals must step in. So, or the other way, we can also say when they are in charge, we are trying to step in and say if we can bring peace. But normally, I think first we are in peace and we have to maintain peace and work hard for it. I have been working a lot with Africa, and I don't see much of these cultural differences. The fact is that Brazil is a country where half of our population, a little bit more than half of our population, 55% of Brazilian population declares to be of African origin. So if we have a country that has so strong African traditions, the cultural bridge is not so big. Of course, Africa is too big, and our connection from Brazil is more to the west coast of Africa due to the slave trade and so. But as a matter of fact, we are quite familiar with, I am quite familiar with Africa. So, you know, when there is some music playing, I start dancing, and I feel quite comfortable with the music. It's something that's it's close. It's the rhythm that is part of my history. When you see this green, environment, we come from the tropics. That's something we recognize as part of our own environment, and I like to see the green. I mentioned at the beginning. This is us. So I don't feel much. So it's difficult to say how I do, because I don't have to. I feel very much at home. It's difficult to say outside, because a diplomat is, particularly when you are out of your country, you are a diplomat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You are always a representative of Brazil. So I like my work, and I do it all the time. But something that I like, that I associate with my work, I like cooking and I like drinking. But I like to prepare food and drinks for people. So I like to invite people to my house. And so it was funny, because when I present credentials to His Excellency the President, I invited him to come and eat in my house. Can you imagine that? Well, why not? He may say no, but I can always invite. And he may be curious about what we cook. I told him, look, I'm also a cook. I'm not only a diplomat, but I'm a cook. And we have, I have been saying to people, we have a very specific Brazilian drink that's called caipirinha. And I've been telling all the ministers, everybody that I meet, that I want my container to come to prepare caipirinhas for them. But then I will not say who, but there is somebody from the government who went to Brazil, and I told this person, please go to Brazil and try some caipirinhas. And the person went, and then when the person came back and said, did you try? The person said, how many? I lost count. So you see, this is something that I like, because I show my country, but I do something that I like, that's to entertain, to talk to people. And but I don't do anything. I do my gym every day, almost every day. I love reading. And I need, this is something that I still have to, I want to get more into local culture in terms of music, artists, who are the artists in town, what are they doing. I want to go dancing, where people go dancing. Well, I'm an old lady, but still I can, hang around a little bit and do a little bit of shaking or whatever. So I want to see how people engage, because I think this is a very young country, yes. But so I want to learn from you and to hear, not to learn, but to experience how you live. First of all, I think these young people, they have to recognize that Africa is growing in terms of importance in the international scene. So if they realize that Africa is getting into the world relations, into international relations with a very strong push, they will understand their responsibility. So first and foremost is, you guys, young guys, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand that you have to work for this continent and for your countries. I think to realize that There is public service. I like the idea that we are public servants. Nowadays, we live too much in an era where people talk about entrepreneurship, private sector. Private sector is wonderful. They make money. It's wonderful. But at the end of the day, those who build a nation is a public sector. We are the ones who can think about the nation, not about the nation, not about one area of the business that you are doing. So I think that for these young people, recognize that you are part of a history that's in the making, and you have to step in and be responsible with the construction of your countries and your continent. And I see over the last 40 years, Africa, when I joined Foreign Service, Africa was still getting out of the colonial period. I saw the independence of some African countries. And now I see where Africa is. Young guys, these ladies and gentlemen, they haven't seen it. So I think it's a big challenge, but it's quite interesting. So step in, get into diplomacy. It's a wonderful career. I highly recommend. I want to say that there is one thing here that is difficult for me. I cannot find all the things that we like in our kitchen, in our cooking, So I also have a dream, a second dream. And the dream is to have Brazilian supermarkets or Brazilian shop where we can sell products from Brazil. Because here I go to a supermarket, I can't find anything from Brazil. We like, for instance, yellow corn, the flour of yellow corn. There is no flour of yellow corn. We look for gari, that is manioc, cassava flour. You don't have the way we do. So I miss my special things from Brazil. We love coconut water. I don't have. So I want things from Brazil to come here. The Brazilian community is growing. So whoever has this entrepreneurial taste, I wish one day we can have more Brazilian products in the supermarkets here. Not for my own happiness and taste, but I think people may like it.